Hey everybody, Taz from Critical Thinking Anarchist here, and I'm going to be a little late to this party. Of course, again, it's tough to record and it's tough to get anything done while I've got a kiddo and trying to get the wife's and mine schedules worked out and babysitting and all that fun stuff. So we're going to be talking about Officer Kim Potter and Daunte Wright. And of course, you get all these freaking memes about Kimberly Potter and the whole taser gun, which, God, that sounds like a bad J.K. Rowling novel. So, of course, it seems everyone is suddenly an expert in tasers versus guns, just like everybody was an expert on choking with George Floyd or fear with Philando Castile. So let's get one thing off the start here. This video is not a defense for the police officer involved in the shooting. She screwed up and it cost a young man his life. However, where my problem comes in all of this is that many of people who are going on about this have never held nor shot any kind of a gun, and even the few who have shot a gun, many of those people have never held nor fired a taser. So let's get into this a little bit. For those that are wondering, how do you confuse a handgun with a taser? What we know is that the officer was issued a Glock, possibly either a 17, 19, or 26 model, which is according to Yahoo. What we don't know is the make and model of the taser. Though many experts note that the tasers are significantly lighter and are brighter in color or have neon accents or whatever, and in most cases, officers are trained to have their tasers on their non-dominant side, so when they go for it, their muscle memory teaches them to use that hand instead of their duty weapon hand. So if you're right-handed, you should be using your left hand to go for the taser instead of your right hand. Now, somebody posted a photo from the video, a screenshot from the video. It had the other officer, presumably the one she was training, who had his taser and his holster was reversed, meaning that the handle for the taser was on his front side instead of back side, meaning that you would have to reach across your body to grab the taser with your dominant hand if you're right-handed. And in that particular case, from the way I'm understanding the experts in training, that's not what they want you to do. They want you to be able to grab your taser or your gun, depending on what you're using, naturally with the hand that's trained to grab that weapon. And again, we haven't seen anything of hers. There is a picture from 2007 that has a bright yellow taser, and it's holstered properly, holstered the natural way with if you're going to be grabbing it with your left hand. However, again, that's from 2007. That's 14 years ago, and a lot changes in 14 years. Training changes, the weapons change, everything. I mean, I don't expect a 2007 taser to be in service 14 years later. So, and what we also don't know is what the officer's training is in these weapons and how often she used them, how comfortable she was, etc. Glocks also should have their own safety on and are much heavier. Okay, so we're just getting that out there. So here's the thing. You have two weapons. One you're trained to use from day one. As she's been an officer for 26 years, she's had a duty sidearm on her hip the entire time. Tasers are usually newer for long-time officers. We don't know when she started carrying the taser, and again, how often she trained with it and how comfortable she was in drawing and shooting it. Ideally, she'd train and draw and be just as comfortable as her duty weapon, so mistakes wouldn't happen in these situations. Now, it's easy for people to say, how can this happen? A taser and a gun are nothing alike, they're blah, 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 blah. But think of all the silly mistakes you make in your own life that could cause problems. How many times have you taken a bottle or a can from the fridge and thought it was a beer but was instead a soda, or vice versa? What about putting something in a cupboard that was supposed to go back in the fridge? How about putting a car in reverse, thinking it was in drive, or thinking you put the car in park when it was still in gear? The point is, there are things we do all the time in low to no stress situations that we should absolutely know the difference of, and we make a mistake. Thankfully, the incredible vast majority of the time, those mistakes don't end up in injuries or deaths, especially of other people. Once in a while they do, obviously, but again, but that's us, daily life. We make simple, stupid mistakes all the time. And that's the big difference here. Her mistake ended up in a man's death. And it's actually amazing this doesn't happen more often. According to USA Today, there have been at least 16 incidents in the US since 2001 of weapon confusion. I would bet there are many more that aren't recorded as the weapons weren't discharged, and most officers aren't going to self-report their own stupidity, and many partners wouldn't do so either. So unless it was caught on camera that it happened, you're never going to hear about the times when others did it, but thankfully nobody got hurt. Now, on the other side of this, you have very foolish commentators asking why police are armed to kill during routine traffic stops. Again, I apologize. I got my kiddo here. He's eating. So you have stupid commentators asking why police are armed to kill during routine traffic stops. Clearly, these morons have never seen the videos of routine traffic stops gone horribly wrong. For one, it only takes a split second for some insane person to grab a weapon from a vehicle and attack an officer. Most vehicles have something in them that can be used as a weapon at all times. Be it a handle for a jack, or a tire iron, or ice scraper. It doesn't always have to be a gun or a knife. And you never know the mental state of the person that's being pulled over. Secondly, the vehicle being pulled over is a 3,500-pound deadly weapon itself. At any point, the driver could put the vehicle in gear and cause incredible amounts of damage, including death. Without a means to defend themselves or protect others, cops are playing with people's lives, most often their own. Now, I've watched the video of the officer shooting this victim. I am no expert by any means. But when breaking this down, they get the guy in the car out of the car peacefully. Everything seems to be going as well as can be expected, but then the officer who is handling the driver decides to give way to Officer Potter. According to Yahoo, she was training an officer who I am assuming is the one we see on camera and is dealing with the driver. Why did he decide to stop handcuffing the driver? Was he unsure of himself? If so, he probably shouldn't have been taking the lead in the first place, which would be Potter's first mistake. That insecurity gave the driver opportunity to get away. Now, once he got back in the vehicle, this becomes the next dangerous part and the reason Officer Potter drew her weapon. They were attempting to pull him out of the vehicle, and we don't know if he was merely trying to get away or possibly go for a weapon. If they knew he was simply trying to get away, the best course of action would be to let him go, pick him up later. But all we see from her body cam is that he's leaning over in the driver's seat. Maybe he's reaching for something, maybe he's simply trying to get away, we don't know. But either way, it's a dangerous situation for an officer. Again, he could be going for a weapon, or he could turn that vehicle and use it as a weapon. Why he decided it was a better idea to run than simply go along peacefully as he started doing, we'll never know. Officer Potter wasn't the only person who made a mistake that day. And that is part of the other problem, is that people are just blaming the officer. Another cop shooting someone, another cop shooting a black man. There are more than one guilty party in this, but we don't blame the victim for some reason. Or the people doing this don't blame the victim. There's actually a lot of people that blame the victim. The victim cost himself his own life, as much as Officer Potter did. She made two mistakes. She let her rookie take the lead when he wasn't ready. She should know when he isn't ready. She's been on the force for 26 years. She's 48 years old. I'm assuming she's trained several dozen cops. She should know that he's not ready to do this. Does it suck that the man lost his life? Yes. It is an absolute tragedy. Was Officer Potter wrong in drawing her duty weapon instead of her taser? Yes, she should know the difference. Is it a mistake others could make? Absolutely. You know, one of the people was talking about trying to up the charges beyond manslaughter. There's a possibility you could go for murder 3. She said murder 3 or murder 2. I don't think anybody would convict on murder 2. I think everybody believes this was an absolute mistake. And I don't think murder 3 would even be convicted. Manslaughter, and again, I don't know the full differences in Minnesota of manslaughter charges. Manslaughter is the one that makes the most sense because it was an accident. And I believe it was an accident. I don't believe she intended to shoot him. I don't believe she intended to kill him. I believe she intended to go for her taser. She should have realized that she had a gun and not a taser in her hand for all the facts. The gun is heavier. She didn't have to disengage the safety. it wasn't bright yellow or black with yellow accents. Now, if it's black with yellow accents and not bright yellow, if it's supposed to be bright yellow, if the ones they have just have a yellow handle but have a black case and yellow accents, then I do believe that makes it a lot tougher to distinguish in the heat of the moment. I think if she had an all yellow taser, and maybe she did, I don't know. If she had an all yellow taser, I think it would be more clear to her and her partners that, hey, this is not right. I believe the charges were appropriate for what happened. I think she was right in taking herself out of the situation, resigning right away, and trying to save the state and the city from being any more liable than they already are. Who knows if it'll work? It probably won't. But again, that's my take on it. Maybe yours differs. Let me know in the comments below. If you like what I did here, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And I will try and get back to you with more stuff soon. You all take care of yourselves. Bye for now.